Hello out there, you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening in to another Pitch for Switch video. And this time I'm going to be talking about a game that I've seen. It's been around. It's made the rounds for a little bit. It's called Lethal League. And actually, there's a character in the game called Switch, which is actually a robot, which actually makes this really appropriate to actually just put it on the Switch anyway. I mean, first of all, it's kind of like a battle royale style game where there's a bunch of people playing together, but you also have to knock a ball back and forth. And there's different play modes. There's the regular play mode, which is free for all, where you're basically trying to knock a ball back and forth and hit other people out with the ball. Then there's team mode, where you're teaming up 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 1, or whatever you want to make it, I guess, or 2 and 1 and 1, and you are trying to knock out the other teams in order to win. But again, you have to hit the ball into them, and you got to knock the ball back and forth enough times, and it gets faster and faster as you keep hitting it. And then there's Strikers mode, which sets up 2 targets on opposite sides of the screen, and you have to play in pairs of 2 against each other, trying to knock the ball back and forth in order to, beat the other team. But you set your own score limits and time limits and stuff for this stuff to be played and everything. But the game is actually a lot of fun. You can really get into it. You can really enjoy it if you sat down and actually played it. And I think for the Switch, this is actually a good fit. And what would be better for a Switch version of this game? Sliding in some Nintendo characters like Mario, maybe Link, Villager, tons of characters that they could just Ness would be a perfect fit for this game. Throw Ness in there. I mean, yeah, that would be up to Nintendo to allow the developers to do it. But I think honestly, if they did that and Nintendo helped them expand the roster a little bit, just like throwing in 6 Nintendo characters, I've already named 4. Somebody else could come up with another 2, and you've got a set there. But honestly, I think that would be fun. It would be a lot of fun to do that, and it would be cool and interesting and everything. And if not the characters, at least add in palette swaps for those particular characters that would actually fit along with this game. So again, it would be cool. It'd be fun. The versatility of the Switch actually would lend itself to this game. Firstly, dual Joy-Con mode, being able to play with 2 separate, not dual Joy-Con mode, but playing with 2 separate Joy-Cons, honestly, for a quick multiplayer setup. There's a lot of different options for it. You play with a control controller, you play with your Joy-Cons, you can play with them separated for one person, or you can play with them on again, there's a lot of different options to play it. This game wouldn't necessarily need motion controls, but I think that the HD Rumble would be actually pretty cool to add to it, and let the HD Rumble feel different for each character. Each character plays a different, how everybody has their own different style of attack or whatever, or moves, and you have to kind of adjust to the characters. Everybody's default speed is relatively the same. There might be slight differences, but they're all relatively the same. The range isn't too different from each other as far as how they actually make their moves and attacks. But letting them all have their own feel for when they come in contact with the ball, when they hit it, or when they get hit for the HD Rumble would actually be an interesting little thing to add in there. I mean, it's not necessary, but it would be just a nice little tidbit to throw in, something that could be interesting. I don't know. It's just a thought. Then you have online mode, obviously, the game's online, and you have your local mode. So it's not a whole lot would really need to be added to this game. The only other thing I think Lethal League could actually use is a story mode. Give each character a story, because the game as is, yeah, it's fun, but it's just quick knockout the way fun. It's not something you can get really deep into unless you're super competitive in multiplayer. But I mean, that's not a bad thing, but I think it could use with story, just to give you a little bit of info on each of the characters, what they're doing, how they ended up in the Lethal League, stuff like that. I think that would be cool to add in, but that's not something that I think would necessarily have to be specific to a Switch version, just in general for the game. And barring putting in additional characters, cross-platform compatibility. That would be the only other thing I can think of. Cross-platform play online would be the only other thing I can think of adding to this game. But that's about it. It's a really good game. It's fun. You can get into it, and it's good for parties. To be honest, this is like almost the perfect party game, like where you could just sit down and hammer away at your friends, taking turns passing off when the loser comes off, or like even if they wanted to. But I think this would be something that they could extend to other versions as well, is to have a 6-player mode. But I think with the other versions of the game, that would be online only, whereas with the Switch version of the game, it could be local and online. But that's the only other thing I can think of. Since you have 6 characters, naturally having all of them on the screen all at once is just another idea. But that's it. Is there anything else I can really add to this? Because, outside of how it looks and everything, I like the art style, so there's nothing to really complain about there. It's still a really interesting game, and I'd like to see it on the Switch if at all possible. But yeah, I don't think I can think of anything else for it. So thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me, and until the next time, please enjoy your games, and peace out.